What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Brandon's Face. It's the podcast about a playlist. I'm Jonathan Beardsley.
And I'm Brandon May.
And this is our 50th episode. Brandon, where the hell did the time go, man?
It's already February in 2023.
Yeah, man. It's surreal. It's fucking weird.
It's really crazy, man.
I write the wrong date down every single fucking day, at least once. So whether this is your first time listening or your 50th time listening, we're happy to have you. For anyone who might be new to the podcast, though, what we do here is break down the latest music releases that pique our interest every week. Sometimes we throw in a curveball or classic, but it's primarily a weekly music review show that we do. If you enjoy our conversation, please give us a follow wherever you get your podcasts to be alerted every week when we post our newest episode. And if you're interested in listening along to what we will be covering each week, follow along with our weekly rotating playlist on Spotify. You can find that link in the show notes below. Lastly, if you want to say hi to us on the interwebs, you can find us on Instagram at Brandon's Face Pod, as well as Reddit. Just search Brandon's Face Podcast. Also, stay tuned for a special announcement regarding next week's episode at the end of this. With all of that out of the way, we can dive into this week's playlist, but anything you want to talk about before we get into it?
I'm good, man. I'm ready to go. This was a fun week.
This is a very fun week. Let's get right into it, man. So first up, we have a track I threw on here from LeYouth, Jero, and Lizzie Land called Lost. I absolutely love this. So I think these first 2 to 3 tracks, I finally started digging into like EDM blogs on Twitter and some of the more well-known ones like Dancing Astronaut, Brownies and Lemonade. And I was checking out just some of the new releases they'd been posting about, and this was one of them. I wasn't too familiar with any of these artists, but I love this. I'm pretty sure a single tear rolled down my cheek the first time I heard this, man. It's fucking beautiful. What did you think of this, buddy?
Yeah, this track is gorgeous. The progression, the build-up, the vocals, all fucking great. I loved this.
Are you familiar with any of these artists?
I have no idea who any of them are, but I now know who they are.
Yeah, I hit follow on LeYouth. Yeah, man, this one makes me feel like Tom Haverford when he's looking at the abstract painting and he says, "A piece of art caused me to have an emotional reaction." Is that normal? I
just do the shapes again, man.
I can't stop listening to this one, so I had to put it first. Next up, we have one from Dabin, Kai Wachi, and Low Spirit called Hollow. So again, I found this one while surfing through Dancing Astronaut's Twitter page. I have been mostly paying attention to the same EDM artist for the better part of a decade now, and I just wanted to see what new stuff I was missing out on. I skimmed this track, really enjoyed it, so I threw it on here. I like the way it blends multiple genres to create the overall sound that it does. I felt like it fit better into EDM than rock, but you could easily classify this one a few different ways. How would you classify this one, and did you enjoy it?
This is good old-fashioned bass music with some metal just kind of sprinkled in for some razzle-dazzle, if I do say so. I've been aware of Dabin and Kai Wachi, however you want to say it, for a while now. I actually found Cannibalian Records, I want to say, while I was still living in the desert before we had ended up moving. So what, like 4 or 5?
I was going to say you still live in the desert.
God damn. Well, we moved for a couple of years, but yeah, they the same record label as Black Tiger Sex Machine. So I've been aware of them, but I realized after listening to this, I was like, hey, I don't follow any of these people. I thought this track was heavy, bro. I love it when dubstep and metal collide. I think. What are they called? Dirty Phonics? Dirty Phonics kind of do this every once in a while, especially in their live sets.
Yeah, I thought this was excellent. I hope we get more tracks like this.
Yeah, I liked it.
Speaking of more tracks like this, we have a new one from illenium and Nina Nesbitt called Luv Me A Little. illenium is one of the bigger EDM artists that has just managed to stay in my blind spot for the most part. I saw his upcoming album announcement and the release of the single, so I just figured it was as good a time of any to finally dive into his music. I haven't had a chance to dig in past this in terms of his discography, but I really enjoyed this single. What's your relationship with his music up until this point.
illenium has consistently put out really beautiful music, or so I've heard. I like it, and I've never really gotten super into his music. I've heard a track here or there, obviously. I think everybody has, but I think this track is great, and maybe I should give him more of a chance. And maybe I will dive in, because this was really good. And I do remember watching on Facebook or something like that. I think like some Razor, I think it was, did some sort of like, here's how these artists produce, and watching illenium break out his guitar and plug it into his computer to write some riffs that he then fucked with to make one of his songs. I was like, oh, that's fucking neat. So I remember really thinking like, oh wow, that's really neat, but I never clicked follow. I never dived in. So I really did like this one, man. It's really
So we're
good.
in the same boat going into
like
this
exactly
album.
the same boat.
Oh, fuck yeah. I love that.
Nesbit, isn't that the Buzz Lightyear?
Yes.
Okay.
When you see the hat, he's Mrs. Nesbit. Okay. They are Mrs. Nesbit.
Understood.
Get his pronouns right. Their pronouns. So his self-titled album drops April 28th.
Nice.
We will dive into that one together.
We sure will.
All right, man. Next up, we got a new one from Bonobo and Jacques Green called Fold. He put out your EDM album of the year last year, man. We weren't really expecting a new track from him so soon, but it's nice to get it. What did you think of it?
Bonobo just kind of has a way with his productions, man. It just speaks to me. The progression, the kind of unique sounds he uses, all the different instruments that you can hear. I think, judging on his music, he clearly puts like a lot of thought into who does vocals and like how they're portrayed throughout the tracks. It all just seems really intentional. And his music just comes together really well. You know that I loved this track. What did you think about it?
Yeah, man. Like all Bonobo songs, this one is really good. There's a lot of interesting tones, depth, and texture. My one gripe with this song is that hissing static sound that comes in every once in a while. The sound itself does not bother me, but the way it's used on this track makes it feel like a cue for live smoke cannons to go off more than anything. It's a minor complaint, but I've thought of it every time I heard this song. Am I crazy? Did you hear it like that too?
I didn't hear it like that, but I'm never gonna unhear it. So.
Oh my God, yeah, you're gonna feel it. All right, man. Next up, we got a new one from Skrillex and Blade called Real Spring. I'm not really feeling this one. It feels kind of incomplete to me. How are you feeling about this one?
You know what I really love is the little video that he put on Spotify for this one, with the praying mantis. Did you see that?
Yeah.
All
yes.
Right. That was pretty cute. Otherwise, I'm pretty indifferent to this track. It's fine. I just kind of want to hear the whole thing as an album already.
Yeah, I wonder if he's preparing to release 2 separate albums this year or possibly a double album. 2 of the 4 releases have had this yellow artwork, while the other 2 have featured that new avatar he's been using since announcing his comeback. You like a good theory. Do you have any guesses here?
What are you saying? Yeah, I have a feeling it's probably 2 albums, but I mean, he did put out 2 names, right? When he did that tweet. I'm not on the tweeter. So.
There was a slash in there, but they were just letters. So yeah, it appears to be 2 albums to me, man. It'll be. What's up?
Well, the slash to me indicates more of a double album then, maybe.
I agree.
If it's this slash this,
so.
Maybe it's more of a like a Cascade Fire and Ice sort of thing, where he did the fire then the ice.
Yeah, Mr. Skrillex and the Big Steppers. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see if he keeps up this pace of releasing music into February, or if he'll just announce the album release date next.
You know, I was thinking about Skrillex the other day, and I have a few of the Coachella posters up in my house, and and I think it was 2010, maybe he was like this little tiny name on the lineup, and nobody knew who he was then.
He played right before Odd Future.
Yeah, so little tiny name, and I will never forget that year we were trying to sneak in, and we were walking down Monroe Street, and we were right by like one of the entrances, because back then there used to be an entrance over there, and a horse-drawn carriage comes up and somebody I was with was like, "Hey, is that Sonny Moore?" And I was like, "Sonny Moore isn't going to come to Coachella, bro. What do you think? From first to last is playing." And I've thought about it ever since because it very much was Sonny Moore, but like nobody knew at that point, you know?
Like you can just vividly remember seeing him and you're like, how did I
Yep,
get this so wrong?
yep. I was like, couldn't be. He retired, you know? Like,
Yeah. He retired. He doesn't exist after like the age of 20 when he left from first to
yeah,
last. God, I don't even know if he was that old, honestly. He might have only been like 19.
right.
That's crazy, man. Let's move on, man. We got a new one from Boris Brejcha called Parallax. Is he becoming one of the best in the genre today?
My man, I just can't get enough of his music. He put out, I mean, this is another like 3-song EP or something, 3-track EP,
Mm-hmm.
Club Vibes Part 6. And I liked this one the best, although all three are fucking great. It was so funny. I have a couple of people that I work with that are going to Coachella this year, and and I remember showing him one of the circle sets that he did. They were like bumping some music, and they were like, who should we go see? And I was like, bet, like, give me your phone. So I typed in Boris Brejcha and Circle, and every time I walked by that door, I just heard just 808s and fucking hi-hats. And I was like, yeah, man, they're getting it, you know?
Dude, fuck yeah. I love this track. It's just another sprawling masterclass in high-tech minimalism, as is always with Boris. I don't always want to be comparative. I don't know if it tops Black Unicorn. I don't know if anything's going to top Black Unicorn this year. That was a insane track. I keep going back to that one, but I love
Same.
this. Really digging this Club Vibe series.
Yeah, I dig it too, man. And you know, it's funny. He's released like albums that we haven't checked out or haven't reviewed rather. But like, there's like a number of them. So
Dude, we have a ton of dance music this week. I'm just really noticing it for the first time right now. So we got a Digweed and Nicki Muir remix of a song called Uyku by Colour. This one's interesting. I liked it, but it felt like something was missing. I have not heard the original, but I would like to hear a Boys Noise remix of this remix, if that makes sense. Did you enjoy this?
oh yeah, God fucking damn it, dude! I love Digweed's production style so much. I really dig this. I know that the kind of vocal chops were really weird, like they were almost like off time a little bit in some spots, but I think that just kind of adds to it, in my opinion. I just think I'm forever going to be a fan of Digweed.
Yeah, man. Digweed's a legend for a reason, obviously. All right, let's move on to this new one from Vintage Culture called If I Live Forever. This is the first single off of his upcoming debut album. It's a little different than I expected, but I still really enjoyed it. How excited are you for a Vintage Culture album?
Dude, I was also taken aback the first time I heard it, and I looked down and I was like, this is Vintage Culture? This is interesting for him.
Not as clubby or
But
trancy.
the way this track slows down almost all the way to a stop and then builds right back up, I think was really fucking cool, man. Vintage Culture's out here just making some really massive tunes. I think he's going to kind of come into his own, and I think if he does kind of stray away from the more Ibiza club sound, that's okay, because he does this sound pretty good.
Yeah. No release date for that, but I'm very excited to hear that album.
Yep. Yep.
We got a new one from Gorgon City called Rumblah. Not a lot to break down on this track. The bass is excellent, has a really nice bounce to it. It looks like we're in the middle of another album rollout. I don't really remember what score you and I gave to Olympia, but I remember it being pretty good. What's your excitement level at for their potential new album after hearing this one?
You know, man, I remember liking Olympia, but I don't think it really held a candle to Sirens. From their, I think that's their debut album from like 2014. It's funny though, because I did listen to this song first off. Listen to this track with like nice earbuds in, and I was like, yeah, this is a fucking banger. And then I think my phone was on shuffle or something, and I wasn't listening to. I didn't have my earbuds in at a different time, and it came on my phone speakers, and God, it sounded so generic. But like you plug some bass in, and my man, you know. Yeah, I like this. I'm excited for it. I like Gorgon City like a lot. So I remember liking Olympia, but I remember thinking or even probably saying on the podcast, this is not gonna. It didn't quite hold up to what I wanted out of them. So we'll see what happens. If this is an indication, that I'm fucking here for it. Let's go.
Yeah, hopefully we get more soon. I'm looking forward to that. Next up, we got one you threw on here from Ida Engberg called Tribute to Orange Clouds. I'm not familiar with this artist. Tell me about them.
I believe they're on Afterlife, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's
It says Mood is what this song was released on, but it could be an imprint label.
I think it might be. I've been a fan of Ida since she was releasing stuff on Drum Code, I think is what she was doing for a little bit there. Yeah, I like this track. I kind of wish it was longer. It's only like 3 minutes or so, and that's not enough for something like this. I kind of wish it was like an 8-minute track, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the song was pretty good. Could have been a little longer. It did remind me though of like Black Coffee, Bonobo a little bit, that style.
Yep.
I dug it.
She used to do some like harder stuff on Drum Code, but that's probably because Adam Bayer was like, nope.
Yeah.
Go harder.
Go like 15% harder at
right,
least.
Exactly. I really like the name of this track though. Tribute to Orange Clouds. It's a really cool name.
I agree. It's an interesting one. Next up, we got one from West End called Running. It's a great song, but like that last one, way too short, man. This is the type of track you want to wash over you, and it's hard to achieve that in less than 3 minutes. How are you feeling about this one?
Fantastic low end on this track, man. The bass line and the chord progressions are fucking great. I don't know when I started following West End, but I'm glad I did. So
yeah, you always hit the follow button on artists and you're like, where did this person come from?
Right. Well, if I listen to a track and I'm like, hey, I really like this, I'm gonna hit that follow button, and then I forget that I did that because I don't even remember ever running into West End, but it was in my little notification bell. So
well, that's good when you have a weekly music review podcast and always need new songs to review.
That is correct. That is correct, sir.
All right, man. Next up, we got a new one from Paul Van Dyke and Weekend Heroes called Venture X. I have been a pretty big fan of the run of singles he's been putting out for the past year or so. This is another solid release. I just wish he'd group these into an album already. What are your thoughts on this one?
So I actually had the same exact thought and was like, what the fuck is Paul Van Dyke doing? So I Googled it. And it turns out that Venture X is a new, quote, live experience that Mr. Van Dyke is doing as an improvisational live show with like a bunch of his favorite producers and DJs. It'll actually be in your neck of the woods around March 4th with his live show. I looked up the vocalist because I really kind of liked the layer that the vocals added. Turns out he fronts a band that has put out like 2 songs total, but I really, really like this band, or I really, really like this track, as is tradition for Mr. Van Dyke.
I agree. Did you look further into that band? Are you going to follow them too?
I already clicked follow, but I don't know. Maybe. I mean, there's 2 songs. I listened to one of them today, and I was like, this is interesting. I just really like this guy's vocals. Christian, what's his name? Christian Scott State.
Yes. All right, man. Let's move into the pop realm of things a little bit. We got a new one from Yaleg called Top Fan. I cannot believe she still sounds this great 15 years later. The song is a certified bop. Love it. Did you enjoy this one as much as I did?
Oh my God. Oh man. I love basically all of her output. I'll never forget my first time ever hearing her was live and being like, who the fuck is this? Like,
yeah.
Like, who is this?
I think I heard her for the first time in like 2007, and I've been hooked since. I cannot believe she doesn't have a song with Mika yet. Can somebody please make that happen? Jesus.
Let's manifest this.
Yeah, please. All right. Next up, we got a new one from ROSALIA called Lie Like You Love Me, I believe is what LLYLM stands for.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what "lie like you love me" means, but it really doesn't matter what it means. It's provocative. It gets the people going. I'm a fan, man. The run she's on right now is just incredible. How are you feeling about this new track of
I
hers?
really like this new track, man, and it's really cool that she blends all of the Spanish in with her English, and she like you said, she's just fucking killing it right now.
Much more English on this track than she's had recently, too. I wonder if that's an indication of things to come or if she's leaning into that due to like more success in the American market. Either way, it's cool.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
Me either. But she did take a few years to craft Moto Mommy, so I'm just really surprised to already be getting new music from her after like a deluxe edition that had like seven or
Right.
eight new songs. All right, man, let's do some R&B for a little bit. We got a new one from Zeina called Whatever. I've been following this girl for the past year or so, and everything she's dropped since then has just been great. I know this isn't usually your type of R&B, but stripped down R&B like this when done right is my fucking shit, man. Did you enjoy anything about this one?
Yeah, I actually liked this song.
Yeah, she's a really good up and comer. I don't think she's really dropped an EP or anything yet, but we will keep an eye on her from here.
Yeah, we'll see, man. This was good. I enjoyed it.
All right, man. Let's talk about this new Chloe song. So it's called Pray It Away. We have covered every solo song she has released to date, and hearing how much better she gets with every release has been a very rewarding experience for me as a listener so far. Lyrically, this isn't my favorite track of hers, but the way she gets into those harmonies is immaculate. As much as I've enjoyed her run of singles, I'm excited because she finally has announced her debut album.
Hey,
Yeah, about damn time, man. We've been covering her for like 2, 3 years.
I know.
Granted, she dropped like 4 albums with her sister before that, but her debut album doesn't have a release date yet, but it is scheduled for March
Hey,
sometime.
that's awesome, man.
So, where's your level of anticipation at for that release after hearing this, relative to R&B, of course?
Kind of like you said, the lyrical content was met on this one, but everything else about it is great. The even like when I looked at the album art or the single art before I clicked play on it, and I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. And then I clicked play, and like, wow, man, she did it again. You know,
Yeah.
I've liked the majority of her music, so this was good, man. Everything except for the lyrical content, but other than that, it is what it is.
Yeah, man. Very much looking forward to that. Next up, we got a new one from Daniel Caesar. Do You Like Me? So, album rollout season just continues with this one. No release date yet, but it's coming soon. I've really enjoyed his last 2 albums. I'm looking forward to hearing more of this one. I thought this song was really good. His voice over that thick bass sounds really good. I suspect this will be one of the biggest R&B albums of the year from a commercial standpoint. This seemed like it might be up your alley. How are you feeling about it?
I didn't hate it. I thought it was all right. Maybe I'll
Too
revisit it.
boring for you?
A little slow, man.
I mean, his music is very much like that. Like he does make some good like breezy R&B, but I would say a majority of stuff, not this song especially because of the lyrics, but a lot of his stuff is like what I would just say is wedding R&B. Um yeah, we won't get into his politics either. All right. So, let's talk about this new Cordae and Anderson Paak one called 210s. Dear God, man, we have arrived at my song of the week, Brandon.
There it is.
The long-awaited follow-up to their 2019 hit single RNP has arrived, and it is glorious. A bit slower than their last collaboration, but just as good in my opinion. Their chemistry remains off the charts. I just really hope they continue making music together. Are you enjoying this one as much as I am?
Yo, this is fucking really cool. This is a really cool concept, and they played off of each other really well. That kind of duality with both of them on it, and with Anderson having such an iconic voice at this point, just kind of just elevated this track up to a level that I was like, all right, this is really fucking cool.
Yeah, it is really, really good. I'm not expecting a new album from either one of them anytime soon necessarily, but happy to get this one.
There it is.
New one from Kamaiyah called Champagne Tears. I'm just really glad she reappeared on my radar, man. I still need to revisit the last albums of hers that I missed, but the last two singles she's dropped this year have both been absolutely perfect. I looked into it though, and she did drop an album in December. I wonder if these are going to be part of a deluxe edition or if they're the start of a new project. Either way, I love this. If it weren't for 210s, this would be my song of the week. What are your thoughts on it?
Thank you for showing me her, man. She's got this confidence that translates like really well into her music, and I think a lot of rappers have an issue with arrogance, but I don't think she does. I think she really gets it, man. I like this a lot.
And she can rap.
Oh,
Like,
for sure.
she is bar for bar one of my favorites today. All right, man, let's get into this new Shower Beers song, Bring You Down. A big surprise. It's another great song from Shower Beers,
I
man.
was just gonna say, man, it's fucking ridiculous how good this is, man. There's not a miss yet.
Yeah,
So
no, man. You can two-step to it, you can circle pit to it. What is not to like? It's a good one.
thanks, Shower Beers. You're making some good music.
All right, man. Let's move on to this new one from Fallout Boy. Heartbreak feels so good. I'm gonna try and to not let this dampen my spirits for the new album, Brandon, because I really enjoyed their last single, but I do not like this single at all. Um, it feels more like modern Panic, R.I.P., than it does like what we just heard on Love from the Other Side. And I'm not saying that the album all has to sound like that for me to enjoy it, but this ain't it, Chief. Also, quoting Jordan Peele's movie Nope, not even like a year after it came out, feels weird to me for some reason. Like, I think they've shown they can be really good songwriters, but that line just kind of comes off lazy to me. What do you think? Am I being too hard on this?
No, I don't think you're being too hard on it. Look, man, this is obviously a little bit more poppy than their last single, but I'm still anticipating the album drop. I'm not as excited as I was last week, but look, it kind of feels like they're trying to find this middle ground, and I think they're doing okay at it. We'll see how it all comes together as a whole. But before this album drop, I'm actually going to go back and listen to the albums of theirs that I missed. Maybe they have been like trying to find a middle ground, and maybe half of the album is like, what was the last single's name? Love somewhere. Love something.
Love from the Other Side.
Love from the Other Side, and maybe half of the album is Heartbreak feels so good. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not giving up on it. I think to its benefit, it's not going to have a long, drawn out rollout. It comes out in March, so we'll find out soon enough.
Perfect.
Let's talk about this new August Burns Red one, Backfire, man. Like all August Burns Red songs, this one just fucking rips. I have no
Fucking
other notes
banger.
on it, man.
It's
What are
a
your thoughts
fucking
on it?
banger. I really liked the social commentary and the lyrics, man. The album should be pretty good.
This song has lyrics.
It does.
Metal has
And,
lyrics.
and they're pretty good, bro.
No, I actually did look into them, which I rarely do. But August Burns Red are fantastic songwriters. I've enjoyed their lyrics since way back in the day, man. Glad to see them still killing it.
Yep. I'll never forget the first time I listened to Speech Impediment way back in like 2004 and being like, who the fuck is this? you know?
Man, I have to go back to that now. I haven't listened to that in a long
It's
time.
great. And like the entire album's great, bro. But that song is forever just seared into my memory.
Yeah, damn, I kind of forgot about that. All right, man, let's move on. We got a new one from Oblivscaris called Graal, one of those. I will give you my thoughts on this one in a sec, but I really want to hear yours first because this one is a doozy, man.
Alrighty. Okay, so we haven't covered them yet, but I remember emailing you a
I
few
think we
weeks
did.
ago.
Did
Did
we cover
we?
a song of theirs? I
Maybe.
think we covered one of their last songs.
Maybe.
Equus? I think we did cover Equus,
Oh,
but I could
okay.
be wrong.
Well, this is this band. I'm very curious to hear how you feel about it, but I think that this is a giant genre blend. This entire song is just a big old genre blend. Power metal, gothic metal, black metal, prog, all together, like this amalgamation of genres. The strings are something that I'm a big fan of. There's a lot happening, and I'm hoping that you listen to this track like 2 or 3 times to kind of get everything that's happening, because there's a lot that happens in
Mm-hmm.
in the 8 minutes and 53 seconds. It doesn't feel like that when listening to this song, and I kind of love it when music is like, when music does that, where it's like, wow, 9 minutes has already fucking passed. This I didn't even realize that, you know.
Yeah, I think that this song, I'm very aware of time when listening to this song, but not necessarily in a bad way. Surprisingly, I did enjoy this one. I still don't really know how I feel about the clean vocals. They're not bad, but it sounds like he's trying to emulate Claudio from Coheed, and that is just not somebody that can be emulated. I could be wrong there, but once this track really kicks into gear, man, it's pretty awesome. By the time those strings come in at the end, there's this almost unsettling amount of things going on, but I thought it worked. I thought they pulled it off.
Which is a feat in and of itself.
Yeah, when the strings came in, I was like, stop it. Like, it was fine. Why did you add that? And then it's just like, oh, it's supposed to be unsettling. I get it. Okay.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, I get it. I thought it worked, man. And that's not usually my style.
I know. I was actually scared you weren't going to like this one, but I'm glad it worked for you.
I think we're breaking down an album of theirs pretty soon, so I've been trying to go into it with an open mind.
Nice. I think you're doing a good job at that.
All right, man. Let's talk about Unearth, the Wretched, the Ruinous, man. Talk to me about this.
We have arrived at my song of the week, sir.
Yep, I figured. That's why I kicked straight to you.
Oh, man. Is this 2004, bro? This fucking bangs. Unearth, to me, is like the definition of metalcore. They've got hardcore drummings, metal guitar riffs, breakdowns, and melodic compositions. They all just kind of come together. God, they just don't miss. The outro of this track is really crazy, man. I don't think I've ever heard Unearth do anything quite like that, but I really liked it. What did you think about this song, sir?
I thought it was excellent, man. It's just so cool to hear Unearth still rocking out, man. Big fan of this one.
The drums are tuned perfectly. Like I like the snare is fucking sharp and crisp, and the bass drums have just like the perfect amount of reverb on them. It's the whew. Good
Are
job.
we getting an
Good
album?
job, guys. I believe we are. I haven't. I think I saw an announcement. I'm not going to look for it right now, but I believe that we are getting an album.
It's gonna be a good year for metal.
Yeah, it is.
I have a feeling it's shaping up.
Yeah.
That is somebody that does not listen to much metal saying that. So we'll see how that goes. My predictions can often go pretty bad. All right, man, let's talk about this new one from Papa Roach and Beartooth called Cut the Line. I knew it was going to be listenable when I saw the Beartooth feature, but it was better than I was expecting. How are you feeling about it?
I threw this on from the Beartooth feature. Really good for you guys. The song is okay.
Sacramento's finest, Papa Roach. I'm surprised that they're still relevant. I honestly they screamed one hit wonder energy with Last Resort, but Getting Away with Murder was a better album than their first one, Infest or whatever. I'm just surprised that this many years later people are still listening, but good for them, man. It's a good track.
10 million monthly listeners. Almost 10.1 million monthly listeners on Spotify. Those are huge numbers, bro.
It's just weird to me that I grew up with that and now that's classic rock.
Shut up.
Very weird.
Shut up.
Very weird. Take your back medication, by the way, Brandon.
Fuck.
All right. So let's finish out the singles with this new one from Enterprise Earth, The World Without Us. This one is also a doozy. So talk to me about this.
All right. So I've heard Enterprise Earth as a band be thrown around on a number of different places that I go to for music, and I've never really given them a chance. So I listened to a handful of songs of theirs and clicked the follow button, and here's a new single. And I actually really liked this song, man. It's like deathcore with clean vocals. I was like, this is a little different. I liked it. It's still growing on me a little bit, but we will see. I'm interested to dive a little bit deeper. What did you think about it?
I could see why you like it so much, man. There's a lot of sick drum fills, heavy riffs, and crushing breakdowns, all of which I'm a fan of. It is a lot for one track, but I wouldn't be disinterested in hearing more from them for sure.
Well, it's funny, man. The modern deathcore scene is very much Lorna Shore adjacent stuff, and like we covered that Angel Maker album last year, and it's just very fast and all at once, and here's everything forever, and it's all happening right this second. I'm not a giant fan of that. I think when bands like Archspire do it, they do it intentionally, and they kind of execute it a little better. But we'll see.
We will. Do we have a release date for that one?
No, I haven't looked into it. I've been pretty
Gotcha.
busy this week.
Oh, really? Too busy for the podcast that all of our fans listen to?
Bro, I'm here. Okay.
I'm just joking. Thank you for joining me, Brandon. I appreciate it. All right. Dude, we have an EP this week. I think this is the first EP this year.
Hey.
So this is from an artist, Knock 2. This is called Room 202 EP. I saw a few of the EDM blogs I was mentioning before posting about this release, so I figured we could check it out together. What did you think of it?
All right. Do you think that there's a Knock 1 out there? It just reminds me of Kevin Malone being in Scritnicity 2, not Scritnicity.
No, I think it's like a 50 cent. I don't think there's 49 other cents. You know?
I mean, you never know. Look, man, it feels like 2012 Big Room House and like 2023 Modern Tech House got together. And I think it worked pretty well, man. I liked this a lot, actually.
Yeah, man, I agree. I thought this whole EP was pretty good. If you would have put this on at one of our parties at the Regent, everyone would have had a good time. And I know
That's
only a
true.
few people on Earth even know what we're talking about when I say that, but it is a compliment. That was the best era of loud EDM blaring from apartment parties on random weekday nights. So just trust me.
Wednesday nights were lit, my man.
Dude, they were. Should we get the hookah ready? God damn it. All right. You ready to move on to the albums?
My man, let's do it.
Let's do it. First up, we have S.G. Lewis's new album, Audio Lust and Higher Love. Do you mind if I go first on this one?
Take it away, John.
All right, man. So quite simply, he took everything I loved about Times and expanded upon those ideas in a way that still manages to feel fresh. The amount of growth as an artist that he's shown between albums, despite that gap being less than 2 years, is mind-boggling. Beyond the technical improvements, though, his intangibles seem to be getting better as well. You can tell he's trusting his instincts when working with other artists, and the results are excellent. I'm happy to see Channel Tress and Lucky Day return for another spot on this album. I think that they all work great together. I'm hoping we get another SG Lewis Nile Rodgers collab in the future, but that's just me being greedy. I've already listened to this album countless times. I'm looking forward to listening to it countless more times. It's not only my album of the week, but definitely my album of the month. I currently have this one at a high 8, low 9. Forget scores, though. I just highly recommend everyone at least give this one a chance, whether it's your thing or not. In terms of a standout, though, man, there's a million different ways to go. Obviously, Call on Me and Vibe Like This are great singles. But of the tracks we hadn't heard yet, Holding On is the one I keep coming back to. I would really love to hear him incorporate more electric guitars like that more often.
Yeah.
And Epiphany just sounds like it could be the soundtrack to one of the dude's dream montages. Another Life has a little bit of that K5 DNA in it. There's a ton to love about this album, man. Tell me what you're loving about it.
All right. So we had like 5 or 6 singles, I think. It was something like a large amount of singles for this. It was a kind of a drawn out rollout.
Maybe 7.
Yeah, we looked at, I think we covered Missing You, I think was the first one, right? Or was it Call on Me? I don't know.
We've covered Infatuation, like, Call on Me, Missing You, Lifetime, Vibe Like This. A lot of them there.
I think it was like back in July, though. So like a long time ago. It's crazy to think about. Look, man, I thought he was going to kind of bury the lead a little bit here, but as soon as the intro started when I put this album on, I knew that he hadn't. Look, I just need to get this one out of the way. I think that Times is such a special album, and to be honest, I'm unsure that all of the magic he created there would be able to be topped for me so soon. I am correct. I still like Times a little bit better. That being said, this album fucking rules. Even if we took the singles out that we've already heard out of the equation, the rest of this album is just rich in both texture and atmosphere. Infatuation obviously is great. The synth line on Oh Laura is infectious. The glitchy kind of vocal chops on Another Life are great. The Nile Rodgers adjacent guitar licks on Epiphany are just funky as hell.
Yeah.
Plain Sailing is just a jolly good time. Something About Your Love is giving me major Too Long by Daft Punk off of Discovery vibes. All in all, man, this is a much more chill album than Times was. This is kind of like a Thursday evening at the lounge, Sunday morning smoking a joint kind of album, and I really, really liked it. S.G. Lewis's parents are probably so proud of them. So proud of him. When I met them in 2015 or 2016, they were just so proud of him, and he was just barely opening up the Yuma tent at Coachella.
Was this on the like public transpo to Coachella?
Yeah, it was on the bus to Coachella.
That's awesome.
And we were like, "Who are you excited to see?" They were like, "Well, we're going to see our son today." I was like, "Nope." Oh yeah. I was like, "Who's your son?" She was like, "S.G. Lewis. He just signed to Calvin Harris's record label."
So this would have been proud. When he just had like Shivers EP out, like that early. Was it. Damn, that's crazy.
Yep, it was pretty cool. So shout out to S.G. Lewis's parents. Look, man, I'm a big fan of this. My standout is probably Fever Dreamer. I really, really liked that track. But yeah, man, 8 out of 10 for me. Easy 8.
Yeah, I think whether you prefer Times or this album does not really matter. They're both instant classics and like a hell of a way for him to start his like official album discography and the decade off.
I gotta harp on Astralworks, man. My physical copy of this has yet to arrive at my home.
Ooh, did you get one of the signed ones?
No, I didn't get one of the signed ones. I'm not rich, bro.
I didn't know it was anymore, man.
I thought
Freddie Gibbs. $10. It's the same price signed off Freddie Gibbs.
And what's crazy is that he actually signed it. Like it's a silver Sharpie. Like
I don't think he had his like little nephew do them all or something. Either way, I'm happy to have it.
Right.
All right, man. You want to talk some Sam Smith?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. His new album, their new album, Gloria, is out. And I was nervous about this album. I don't know about you, because I didn't remember really enjoying any of the singles. But when I hit play on it, I was reminded that Love Me More is part of this album. And it quickly set me at ease because that song is just so great. I love that one. That doesn't keep this album from occasionally not landing with me from time to time. I'm still not a fan of Unholy or Give Me. I thought album cuts like No God and Six Shots were much better, but that's another minor A&R complaint from me. I think that for a pop album, especially for a mainstream pop album, this is pretty good. It's tightly sequenced, moves along nicely. His vocals are on point, and the production, especially from Stargate, is top notch. I have this one at a high 6, low 7. My favorite track is Six Shots. Big surprise. If I could get a whole album of just full R&B Sam Smith like he is on that song, I would be very happy. This will do until then, though. Give me your thoughts on this one, because I'm curious to know how you received it.
I think judging by both of our standouts here, and I'm going to hold it to the end here, but I think that there's something in this album for everybody. So it kind of occurred to me when I threw Love Me More on to start the album off, I've really only paid attention to Sam Smith as a feature on Disclosure tracks. Maybe I should give their back catalog a listen.
Excellent, by the way.
Oh yeah. As of my writing this, he is 7th in the world on Spotify. Good for them. Their SNL performance was great, and I really enjoyed this album more than I thought I would, actually. With the exception of the track Gimme, as I actively despise this song, and I think it should not have been made.
Let's just say it. There's too much Jesse Reyes on the album.
Should just burn it, one of those things. Oh, man. Other than that, I think the tracks like Lose You and I'm Not Here to Make Friends are fantastic. Upbeat pop with arguably one of the best voices in the game right now. And they really kind of show it off on Gloria, and obviously the rest of the album too. But really makes a showcase of it on that track. I actually think that the Ed Sheeran feature was great. Also, I kind of rolled my eyes that he was closing his album with an Ed Sheeran feature, and I think it really worked. I'm with you. I have it 6 or 7 ish. Throw it somewhere. Throw a dart at that range, and it's somewhere there. I'm Not Here to Make Friends featuring Calvin Harris is my standout on this, and it's funny. It's funny that yours is 6 Shots, because that's way more of the R&B, but my upbeat traditional pop over here with I'm Not Here to Make Friends is. I just thought it was funny.
I believe Sam's done vocals for a Calvin Harris song before that was one of their bigger collaborations too. So I'm not surprised to see them link up again.
Yeah.
Did you see the SNL performance?
Yeah. It's pretty good, man.
What did you think of Sharon Stone being there for Glory? That was kind of weird.
I thought it was really weird, but the first song that he did, the first song that they did with the pink fluffy thing, was pretty cool, man.
Have you seen the video for I'm Not Here to Make Friends?
I have not.
Sam is wearing that the entire time, so they're definitely getting more use out of that big pink fluffy thing than just that one performance.
I'm assuming it was expensive. So
yeah, I'd be wearing it to bed every night. Sleeping in the bathtub in that thing.
Right.
All right, man, let's talk about some Swiss Army Wife. This is their new album, Medium Gnarly. You sent me this band's bio on Spotify because you thought it was hilarious, which it is. I recommend everyone go check it out. But after having a good laugh at that, man, I realized they just put out a new album, so I hit play on it, and holy shit, man, I knew we had to talk about it. So give me your thoughts on it.
So this is another one from Really Rad Records. Last week we reviewed Dosser's Violent Picture, Violent Sound, which was also released by Really Rad Records, which is just a great record label name. Man, this is a fantastic emo album. Coming in at just 19 minutes long. It's easy enough to digest and play again and again and again. John, I'm going to ask you one more time this episode. Is it 2004? This band may not be wildly popular, but they have a confidence that really shines here. It's probably because they wrote a great album. I'm going to dig into their EP from 2021 and the rest of their older music. Swiss Army Wife, you made a fan. I gave this a 7. My standout is New Best Friend. What did you think about this album, sir?
I thought this album was an absolute gem, man. I listened to it 2 or 3 times in a row without even realizing it the first time.
Right.
I can't believe more people aren't talking about this right now. Like, this is incredible to me. All of the songs are well written. The album is paced well, and it keeps me wanting to come back to it. I hated having to wait 2 weeks to talk to you about this one, man. I'm excited to hear, like, what they do going forward. I think I saw that they're playing at a pizza place in Eugene, Oregon. I might go check that out.
Fucking amazing. You definitely should.
Yeah, man, I have this one at a high 8 right now. My standout is I'm a head out, but Halloween and New Best Friend are A+2. I'm absolutely loving this one, man. It's crazy. Like, I think the most played song on this is only around 11,000 plays. Like, I hope more people discover this soon because it's an incredible album.
Yeah, I really liked this album, dude, and I like the band, and we'll see what else. The album cover is just chaos. Just everything about this band's aesthetic is
incredible,
right,
man.
I'm pretty
sure there's an Alonzo Mourning like character doing a layup. It's pretty weird, yeah. It's definitely something for everybody in that cover, but I'm a giant fan of this album.
That's so good, man. I'm glad you liked it.
All right, let's talk about this Holy Popes album. It's their self-titled one. Tell me about it.
So, look, man, I didn't know that they were going to be dropping an album. Otherwise, it would have been on our release radar. When it dropped, I skimmed it, and I really like their sound. I think I found these guys on some Bandcamp rabbit hole that I went down, which I went down a very interesting one recently. This whole album has given me like major like early Foo Fighters and Queens of the Stone Age vibes with like a little bit of punk and like some Primus mixed in. I don't know, man. I'm getting a lot of cool early to mid 90s rock vibes from this. I've been really liking these kind of bands who take old styles and breathe a little bit of life into them, and I love the confidence in the execution here. This band seems like a really good time live. I'd love to see them if they ever came to my neck of the woods. I really liked it, man. My standout was Jerry. I gave it a 7. What did you think about Holy Popes and this small little indie band I threw you this week?
Yeah, man, I don't typically listen to this style of rock, but for what it was, I really enjoyed it. It's a fun, thrashy bar rock album with just a lot of attitude and energy from start to finish. I have this one in the 6 to 7 range as well. Pencils was my standout. Those grungy guitars, though, are just my favorite part of this album. They're awesome.
Yeah, man, this was a lot of fun. I'll be following this band for a while. We need to get those monthly listeners up. They're only about 641 right now.
Hopefully, more people discover them as well. I'm glad we got a few bands that are a little under the radar this week to cover.
Yeah, man, me too.
Speaking of another one, we have a new album from Barbed Wire. This album is called The Sunset in the Wrong Place. I don't think I've ever heard an emo band from Rome before, but it's pretty rad.
Same.
This whole album has a very grounded, do-it-yourself feel to it that I think is really part of its charm. I thought it was a fun listen from start to finish, but my favorite part was that 3-song run from I Wish Everything Went Slower to Gloomy Nights. I have this one in the 6 to 7 range as well. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, man. It's just some more emo music that is proving again that there's some young bands out there who are recording music in like a meaningful way and very clearly having a good time. Look, man, I've been more and more interested in like the extreme of the underground since we started doing this podcast, and I don't know if that's been apparent to you yet, but I see real music here and people really trying to make something that they're proud of. If I was Barbed Wire, I'd be proud as fuck of this album. This is like classical emo. It's performed very well. All of the songs are well crafted. There's dreamy, kind of glittery riffs peppered in. Not too many, of course. And there's great lyrics and real emotion in their voices. This is great, man. I had a good time listening to it all week. I had also never heard of an emo band from Rome. You and I covered last year a single or an EP from an Italian metalcore band, maybe a deathcore band, one of those. And I got to thinking, what music do I listen to from Italy? There's like a couple of techno artists that I listen to from Italy, but like fuck all after that. So I went down a Bandcamp rabbit hole and found a few bands. So maybe we'll listen to a couple of more things from Italy this year. Who knows? But I really liked this. I gave it a 6 or 7, somewhere around there. High 6, low 7. Born from Dead Fears is my standout, which happens to be right within your little 3-song run there.
Yeah, that's a great one. Really, really good track.
Yep.
All right, let's cap this week off with this new Parannoul album. It's called After the Magic. I enjoyed this release slightly more than the last, but nowhere near as much as the first. They've definitely added a layer of electronic influence throughout this album that I liked. But for the most part, it's just more of the same. I feel like this one's in that solid 6 range. My standout's Insomnia. Are you feeling any differently about this one than I am?
Kind of a little bit. I think I might have liked it more than you, but I don't think that. I mean, the first time I heard their album, To See the Next Part of the Dream, I remember being like, what the fuck, bro? And it's really, really an incredible album. But man, on this one, the fucking textures, man. This album is, I think it's really great, man. I don't think it's quite eclipsed that album, but man, this came pretty close to me. The piano leads, the guitar effects, the lyrics I can't understand, the drums. This all kind of came together into something that I really enjoy. And I think that the strings added like a completely new layer to the album and really tie the room together here. This band just keeps creating magic, bro. Maybe I'll translate the lyrics. I'm sure somebody's already done that, but I'm interested as hell to like actually know what they're saying. I think there's some magic that this band has tapped into, and I think they should just keep going. I really liked this. Again, I don't think I liked it quite as much as To See the Next Part of the Dream, but give this one an 8. My standout is Arrival.
Oh, fuck yeah. So you enjoyed it more than I did. I'm going to go back to this one. I think all Parannoul albums have to sit with me a little bit. And just obviously setting your like new fans' expectations super high with like an almost instant classic on your
Right.
first release is pretty hard to surpass. But I'm going to keep tuning in because I think he or they or whoever it is very, very talented. There was a lot I heard on this album that was insanely creative. Um, it just has to hit me in the right mood. I think similar to most genres with you.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of those things where the output from this band is wild.
They
So
don't give you a lot of time to digest.
exactly. It's like here's this masterpiece. Hey,
It's also like
here's another good
lyrically
one. You know,
dense and we can't understand it. So it's like
I
there's a
kept
lot of layers to it.
I kept thinking I need to know what this fucking guy is saying. Like I need to know. Like they're saying something. What are they saying? What are the numbers,
Well,
Mason?
all right, man. We should leave it there for the week. Normally we would wrap up each show by discussing what releases we'll be breaking down the following week. However, after looking at this week's release calendar, we realized there wasn't much to cover. So instead of doing our usual weekly music review next week, we will be doing an episode we've talked about doing for over a year now, and that is sharing our favorite top 10 scene albums of all time. If you've been listening to us for a while, you know that this is a subject we're both very passionate about. I'm looking forward to this conversation slash debate with you. We hope you'll all join us next week. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, man, I'm just excited for next week. Thanks for sticking around for 50 episodes, everybody.
We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.
Peace.